You might be wondering how you know if your business will be valued fairly in a divorce. You're not just going to know, right? First of all, are you having a business valuation done? Yes or no? Sometimes we have clients who don't want a business valuation done and they just want to kind of guess at what the business is worth. And you can certainly do that. You have a right to do that. But just keep in mind, in California law, you have the right to, or your spouse has a right to have your business valued. And if your spouse waives that right, that's his or her choice, but they do have a right to that. If you are having a business valuation done, you want to make sure you choose the right professional to do the business valuation. While some clients want to choose the person by themselves, we always recommend that our clients let us refer them to the right person to do the business valuation. We will not just take on a case if you've kind of just found some random person to do your business valuation. They have to be a qualified professional. And if you don't like what the qualified professional has to say about what your business is worth, then, their advice probably isn't very great either, right? It might not be what you want to hear, but it kind of is what it is. If your spouse has had your business valued or the court's ordered for your business to be valued and you don't like how it's being valued, we can hire a different person to do a separate business valuation. That's fine. We can contest how your spouse has had it valued. That's fine. But it needs to be done by the right qualified professional, not just anyone on the street, right? And it depends on what type of business you have in order for us to find the right person to do the business valuation. Some of our clients worry that, by doing a business valuation, that then they're going to somehow lose their business because it's being valued as part of their divorce. It doesn't mean you're going to lose your business. It's just, either we have to agree by a settlement agreement, exactly how your business is characterized, whether there's a community property component, or it's all your separate property, what that looks like. And once it's been characterized, we have, how it's going to be allocated between you and your spouse. It doesn't mean that we have to dissolve your business or, you have to walk away from your business, but maybe you are going to give your spouse, some other asset in return for you keeping your business, or, maybe spousal support is going to come into play somehow. We're going to have to use something in order for you to keep your business while, at the same time being able to buy out your spouse or giving your spouse his or her community property interest in your business so that you get to keep it and walk away. If you're a business owner, you might be wondering how we can help you protect your business in a divorce. One of the best ways to protect your business would have been getting a prenup, right? It's easy to say now, maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. Even if you got a prenup though, every prenup is not created equal, right? It's going to depend on the terms in your prenup. In your prenup, you're going to want to have had a waiver where your spouse waived his or her community property interest in your business. If she or he didn't waive the community property interest in your business or the appreciation of the assets during your marriage, then you might have a prenup and still, have to give your spouse his or her community interest in your business. So just having a prenup isn't enough. It depends on the terms of the prenup that we're talking about. But a prenup is one great way to protect your business in your divorce. Another way would be a postnup, right? If you got an agreement done after you got married where your spouse waived his or her interest in your business as part of your divorce. Another way to protect your business, I guess, is to just, be a really poor business owner and not generate any wealth from your business and have it tank. If you have a poorly run business that's not generating any income and is worth nothing, then, you won't have to share it with your spouse upon your divorce. Sometimes people try to tank their business as part of a divorce strategy. I wouldn't really recommend that. It's not really going to serve you generally, right? Big picture to have a tanking business. But, to each their own. And you don't really want to be seen by a judge as having any bad faith in how you're running the business as part of some kind of divorce plan. It's not really appreciated by judges. So, I wouldn't recommend that necessarily. Another way to protect your business, though, is if you're about to do like this high speed velocity growth of your business and shoot up and blow it out of the water, maybe don't do that right now. Maybe just chill out and manage it as you've been doing. And then once your divorce is done, maybe then you can do all that business explosive growth and for your future. And, we can first make sure that that's confirmed as your separate property. And it's not going to apply to any kind of future spousal support obligation you might have down the road. It's really important that your spouse, we get your spouse to waive his or her interest in your business before you do any of that kind of exponential growth. At the same time, let's just, the most important part in any family law case, in your case, is to always have good faith and fair dealings as far as how you're running your business and how you're giving financial disclosures to your spouse. It's always best to have a family law attorney help you navigate that to make sure you're in compliance. Because as a business owner or potentially as a high earner in your divorce case, you always want, to appear in court as if you are a person of integrity, which I'm sure you are, and you're someone that wants to do the right thing. And, those are some of the values of my firm, Fenchel Family Law, is having integrity, doing the right thing, because we kind of practice what we preach, and we really want you to, have these values so that if your case does have to go to court, which I hope it doesn't, your case is a case that a judge is going to order more in your favor as long as, whatever argument we're making is looked favorably under California law and statutory authority in case law. So if you have a business and you're married and your spouse is also part of a business, that is something important that a judge or a forensic will look at as far as determining how your business is going to be valued and how it's going to be divided as part of your divorce. If you and your spouse are co-owners of the business, then likely you probably have some kind of partnership or operating agreement. Maybe it was drafted by you in-house, maybe it was drafted by an attorney, but that's something that we should definitely be analyzing to tell you kind of what's going to happen as far as, upon divorce or upon you no longer reaching agreements about how to run your business, whether your business needs to be dissolved or kind of what that looks like to dissolve this partnership agreement or operating agreement. In some situations, both spouses want to continue to work together. Maybe they have an amicable relationship where they're able to cooperate and they want to stay working in the business together even after getting divorced. That's a personal choice. It's something you might want to talk to with your business attorney. We don't work standing alone as divorce attorneys. Sometimes we do, right? Sometimes we can just give you advice and you can rely on it, and it's just a one-on-one relationship, but not always. And if you own a business, we likely will involve, the whole team. We might have a team approach if you have a corporate counsel or, if you have a CPA involved with your business or with a forensic accountant. We'll get the people involved that need to be involved so that you are making the best strategic choice for your future chapter. Because we understand it's not so simple, it's not so straightforward, and we want you to make the best decision so that you have the future that you should be having with the right attorney by your side.